Shemai Asitahi Croisoi Chris Dewey was cracking lit. And everyone else, but mostly lit. Only joking. What's cracking, everybody? Today we are talking about Gardner's Reptilian Odyssey. Now, this book, despite the cover, is actually pretty good. Now, right, before you click off, before you leave comments saying, oh, I bet you mean Trapper on Dead by Daylight, before you do any of that, bear with me. The story is pretty good. It's 121 pages. The story is simple. There are no loose ends. It's all neatly done. The dialogue's pretty good. The characters are pretty good. The threat is pretty good. This is actually a pretty good book. Now, if you want to hear me tell you why it's a good book, feel free to keep watching. If not, and you're going to click off, well, all I'm going to say is whap a like on the video before you go. So yeah, that's about it, guys. I don't know why I did that voice. Let's talk about Reptilian Odyssey. So, elephant in the room, the cover's actually pretty ugly. It doesn't really look like Reptilian, but at the same time, it is chalk. You know, I don't think Gardner's an artist. It is what it is. It's probably really cheap. It's a very sensible thing to do, especially if you're self-publishing on Amazon. So we can't deduct points to that. Either way, let's turn this bad boy around. Let's read the back, and it says, after watching the news of a school shooting, two brothers travel to the biggest mall in Chicago, Eternity Mall. The establishment is supposed to have an upcoming video game on display. A game called Reptilian Apocalypse, an advanced virtual reality game about mankind's struggle for survival against shape-shifting beings. What starts off as a leisurely trip to the mall for the young men turns into something they had not anticipated. These individuals have been targeted, stalked by someone or something for a nefarious purpose. So the back of the book, the blurb, actually summarizes the story really well. That's about it, you know. They are in a shopping center, shopping mall after dark, and there's a creepy entity sort of stalking them through the aisles, through the corridors, through the hallways, whatever the word is. And there was a Goodreads review that actually said it quite well. It felt very much like Silent Hill 3 in the sense that you're in this dark, creepy shopping center mall, and you're being stalked by something that you can't actually fight through normal means. So the story really is the two boys leave to go to the shopping mall, and they end up watching a magician. Now this magician's doing magic, obviously. What else is he going to be doing? Sleeping. And the boys are like, oh wow, magic, and one of them's really edgy. He's like, oh, it's all fake anyway, so heck this guy. So the shopping center closes down, and he's like, oh, let's actually look for a trap door. They look for a trap door, it's not there. And then for some reason he wants to go play a game, and then the shop center closes without them. Now that itself is a bit weird, because I'd only imagine that shopping malls in America have like security guards, because obviously if you break in there's a lot of stuff there to steal. I'm not an American, I've never been there, I don't know how things work. Over here we just sort of lock everything. Every single shop has shutters, and then the main building itself is locked. I don't know how it works over there. Don't really care, to be honest, because it's a shop mall in a book. So these guys, they're seemingly let loose inside the shopping mall. And yeah, no, it is what it is, but then they sort of see this creepy figure in the dark approaching them. It starts laughing at them maniacally, and they run off. They run off as fast as they can, because obviously it's really scary. So then they encounter the small boy. Now the small boy's being weird. He's being quite strange. He's quite young, but he's quite weird, you know what I mean? He's one of those kids who probably sniffs bike seats. And Eddie, the oldest brother, how haven't I talked about the two main characters? But you got Eddie, the oldest brother. He puts all his weight into a punch and chins the small boy. He sends the kid reeling. And for me personally, that was really funny. It shouldn't have been funny, but it totally was funny because it's totally unexpected. Now, Eddie is the older brother, Max is the younger brother. Because I forgot to say it, because you're not going to know this, but I had to record this entire video twice because my hard drive died on me. Top bands, totally fun. So, Eddie absolutely slugs this small child, and the child's just on the floor. He's like crying, he's scared, he's like, oh, I was only playing. And then he starts laughing, a bit like he's on the register. So the boys run off, because obviously something's wrong. The child is then revealed to be a shape-shifting reptilian who just sort of wants to... He's malicious. He has malicious intent towards the boys. Now, you might be sat there thinking, what's a reptilian? If you don't know what a reptilian is, it's meant to be a race of aliens that secretly controls the world. That's the theory in like sort of conspiracy circles. Now, talking about conspiracies, this book actually handles them quite well. It's quite interesting. They talk about brainwashing kind of stuff, and how your psyche's destroyed through various forms of torture. Very close to the MK Ultra stuff. It's all quite interesting. If you like conspiracies, man, this book is it sort of tickles all them nerve endings. You're gonna enjoy it because it's more of like a cross between X and Lit, just like Call of the Crocodile was. If Call of the Crocodile was written as well as this one, it would have been such a good book. But this book is very much a cross between X and Lit in that regard. But the whole premise is that these reptilians exist on a different plane of existence, and using this game, the video game, they can sort of like harvest your soul or something weird like that. The game is actually made so that you could train to fight a future reptilian invasion. That is basically the premise, and it's not really a twist, it's not really a great reveal, it's sort of just explained like this exposition dump. It is interesting, it's nice, it's an interesting story. So why is the story pretty good? Well, it's quite simple. It's good because it's simple. It doesn't go out of its way to do anything too convoluted, and everything that it does touch upon that might be convoluted is sort of understood by Gardner enough so that it's presented in a way that isn't too confusing. You know, if you're not a rocket scientist, writing about rocket science in a book is only going to go bad. But when you got Gardner writing about these conspiracies and reptilians, you could tell he's very clearly interested in them, and he understands what he's talking about, and it's nice to see a guy in his element. Because this book, right, when I read The Hunger of the Kangaroo, or Call of the Kangaroo, something silly like that, the book wasn't very good, in all honesty, and I expected this book to be pretty bad as a result. But with this one, it's 121 pages, all the loose ends tied up, it's actually well done. And yet there's a lot of it taking place in like a virtual reality setting, but it's an interesting premise, because when you have like all these conspiracies that have gone rampant over the lockdowns, it's interesting to see a story that sort of maybe, you know, it plays with them a little bit. It sort of puts them on a pedestal and goes, what if that actually happened? What if reptilians do exist on a different plane of existence and they do harvest people's souls? Well, if you browse X, you're gonna see it's normally just like a picture of just like the story. It's like a screenshot of a bunch of green texts where this guy is allegedly, he's gone in like an out-of-body experience. He saw a pastor who was actually a reptilian. It's all very interesting. You can probably find it if you go on the board. You know, it's not like a dangerous board if you don't know what 4chan is. It's a blue board, so there is no nudity. The most you're going to get are people saying naughty words. It's a very fun story. I liked it. And when you have these reptilians and they sort of exist on a different plane of existence, it sort of rubs all my my nerd side the right way. I enjoyed it. It's really interesting. It's quite fun, and it's done in a way that doesn't seem too bizarre, too out there. You know, it makes sense within Gardner's world, within Gardner's Chicago. It's fantastic. You know, then you have like the dialogue, and the dialogue's a lot better than it has been. You know, nobody uses the word utensils to refer to knives and forks, which is so nice. That is probably my biggest pet peeve. Nobody mentions knives and forks, but nobody mentions utensil. It's fantastic, but the dialogue feels more natural. Gardner sort of got into like a flow when he writes dialogue coming from adolescents, from children, young teens, young adults. He's good at that now, and it's nice seeing that the guy is clearly practiced what he's writing. It's fun. It's nice to see a guy improve. The setting is interesting because it's quite uneasy. It's very much like those liminal spaces. It basically pictures of places that should be full, but they're very empty. It makes you feel uneasy. It makes you feel quite unnerved. You don't know what's happening. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel normal. And that's the thing, when you're going through like a shopping center or a shopping mall and it's busy, but you can imagine if it's actually really quiet, this is actually quite a weird place. The lights aren't properly on in half the shops, and it's fantastic that you're thrust into this environment where the lights are off. You've got some creepy reptilian guy creeping down the hallways, laughing at these two boys as they frantically run away, only for the reptilian to corner them in the shop and play with his food a little bit more. It's a great story. It's actually quite good. The pacing is decent, the dialogue's decent, everything is decent, and all this decency comes together to make something good. And that's the thing. Although Gardner's works are memed on quite relentlessly, I think this book's actually pretty good, in all honesty. This is one of the books that I will stand by saying this is quite good. Like Call of the Cherokee, I enjoyed both of these books. So I've rambled on about this book for almost 10 minutes now. I'm going to go over the 10-minute mark because I can. The book's actually quite good. I enjoyed it. I totally recommend it to you. Although a lot of Gardner's books are memed upon, this one's pretty good. It's pretty decent, and it's only 121 pages. I think you can get it on the Kindle. I'm not sure how that works for other e-readers. I'm not sure if that's available for you if you're not using Amazon's e-reader. But yeah, the book's pretty decent, guys. I totally recommend it. So that is about it for me, guys and girls. I did actually enjoy this book, you know, and if you enjoyed the video, feel free to like, comment and subscribe. I've got Jigoku's next on the list to read, and then I got a copy of Shit Kickers coming from, well, Canada, so that's going to be good. Can't wait for that. It's going to be a fun little read. But I do feel as if I'm going to have to finish the video here. The only reason this wasn't uploaded on, well, Thursday, was because my hard drive died, and then it's my birthday, so I figured let's just take a day off. So it's good fun, good fun. So yeah, I'm gonna have to leave you guys there. So hopefully you're gonna be here for the Jigoku video. Who knows? So yeah, take care guys. Hope you have a nice day. Ta-ra. Thanks for watching.